Learning objectives. After completing this module, learners will be able to understand the strategies taken by Samudragupta in conquering other kingdoms in India, learn about Harshavardhana and the expansion strategy of his empire, learn about the Pallava and Chalukya and about their conflicts, learn the mode administration and the nature of military strategies as taken by the medieval kings, learn about different types of assemblies and their activities, learn how the ordinary people used to live in medieval age in India. Samudragupta, the Parakramanka. The genealogy or family tree of Samudragupta. Samudragupta reigned during 336 to 380 CE as the fourth ruler of the Gupta dynasty. He was the son of Chandragupta I, who adopted the title of Maharaj Dhiraj. The predecessors of him, Ghatotkacha and Shrigupta, were only Maharajas. It signifies that from Chandragupta I, the expansion of the Gupta dynasty was happened. Chandragupta II was the son of Samudragupta, who expanded the Gupta empire towards western India. We can see Kumaragupta I, Mahindraditya and Skandagupta as the remarkable rulers after him. Prashasti of Harishena. Harishena was the court poet of Samudragupta's court. He wrote many prashasti in the name of the king. Prashasti is a Sanskrit word which means in praise of. In his Prashasti, we came to know that Samudragupta was a great warrior and he sometime was described as equal to God. In other gold coins of Gupta period, we came to know that Samudragupta could play veena and was fond of music. Expansion of the empire. As Harishena wrote that Samudragupta defeated 9 rulers and acquired their kingdom into his dynasty in Aryavarta. In southern India, he defeated 12 different rulers, but when they surrendered, he returned them their kingdom. In eastern India, he obliged the rulers to send him the tribute and follow his orders. Toward western region, the rulers submitted to him and offered their daughters to marry him. Harshavardhana. Harshavardhana as an emperor. Harshavardhana ruled the kingdom of Thaneswar, present-day Haryana, from 606 to 647 CE. He was the member of the Pushyabhutik dynasty and was the son of Prabhakara Vardhana, who defeated the Huna coming from Central Asia. Later, after his brother-in-law's death, Harsha made his capital in Kannauj. Many scholars and other artists and travellers from different parts of the world made his court a centre of cosmopolitanism in that era. Harshacharita, written by Banabhatta. Banabhatta, the court poet in Harshvardhana's court, wrote Harshacharita in Sanskrit. This book had given us the clear idea about the family tree of Raja Harsha. Harshavardhana wrote 3 Sanskrit plays as Ratnavali, Nagananda and Priyadarshika. From Banabhatta's narration, we came to know about the administration and military system as well as the religion followed of the ruler too. Harshavardhana established Nalanda University and he organized Kannauj Religious Assembly to honor the Chinese pilgrim Xuanzang, who visited India during his time period. Harshavardhana as a conqueror. The kings of Malwa and Bengal cunningly murdered Rajyavardhana, who was the elder brother of Harsha. Harsha in retaliation defeated the king of Bengal, Shashanka, in a battle and killed him. By the realm of Harsha's power, his empire covered much of north and northwestern India, extended east till Kamarupa and south until Narmada river. Harsha won Magadha and Bengal both, but by the south of Narmada river, he was checked by Pulakeshin II of Chalukya dynasty. The internal struggles between Pallava and Chalukya. Pallava dynasty. The Pallava dynasty existed between 275 CE to 897 CE and gained prominence after the eclipse of Satavahana dynasty, whom the Pallavas served as Samantas. Eventually, Pallavas became a major power during the reign of Mahendravarman I, 571 to 630 CE, and Narsimhavarman I, 630 to 668 CE, and dominated the Telugu and northern parts of the Tamil region for about 600 years until the end of the 9th century. They appreciated the sculptures and other forms of art and craft. The capital was in Kanchipuram, situated as Kaveri Delta. Chalukya dynasty. The Chalukya dynasty ruled large parts of southern India between 6th and 12th centuries. The earliest dynasty was known as the Badami Chalukyas. They rapidly rose to prominence during the reign of Pulakeshin II. The capital city of Chalukyas was in Raichur Doab, which was between Krishna and Tungabhadra rivers. Another city, Aihole, was 22 miles from Badami and being the major centre of historically important Chalukya monuments. Pallava-Chalukya conflicts. Ravi Kirti, the court poet in the court of Pulakeshin II, wrote some prashasti about the great Chalukya king Pulakeshin II. During this time, these two kingdoms for several times fought each other and attacked each other's capital cities. The Chalukya-Pallava war began with Pulakeshin II and ended with the collapse of both their dynasties significantly. This was entirely to determine the geographical locations of the Chalukyas and Pallava kingdoms. Administration, military system, and local assemblies. Administration system. As like the earlier dynasties, the rulers always were dependent on land revenues, and thus villages were the basic units of their administration. Beside them, we can see several bureaucratic posts like Kumara Amatya, ministers in King's Court, Mahadandanayaka, Chief Judicial Officer, Sandhi Vigrahika, Counselor on War and Peace, and so on. Additionally, the rich merchants used to get the post like Nagara Shreshthi or chief merchant in the societies as well. In Pallava system, we find the hierarchy like Mandalam or the state, Kottam or Vishayas, Nadu or council of villages, and Urs or village respectively. Military system. A new trend in military system was seen during Gupta era. There were many military leaders who used to provide the military support to king when it was required. In turn, they were given a portion of land from where they collected the revenue, and thus they were called Samantas. It was seen that whenever the main ruler went weaker, the Samanta kings tried to supersede the king. Local assemblies. In Pallava inscriptions, we can find the name of assembly as Sabha, which was assumingly the organization of Brahmins. These assembly had numerous subcommittees to look after various activities like irrigations, road construction, and so on. In non-Brahmins contexts, the assemblies named as Ur in villages and Nagaram in cities led by merchants could be seen. The rich and powerful landowners and merchants used to retain these assemblies for more than a century. Ordinary men and women in early medieval period. Ordinary men during Gupta era. Kalidasa was a famous Sanskrit playwright during Gupta period. He showed in his play that the king and Brahmins used to speak in Sanskrit, but the ordinary people would speak in Prakrit or Pali only. In the play titled Abhijnana Shakuntalam, he showed how an ordinary fisherman was first harassed by the gatekeeper and the police in the king's court when he told that he found the precious ring of Shakuntala inside the stomach of a fish. Later, when the king Dushyant rewarded him for his act, those gatekeepers wanted to grab some portion of his reward at the time of returning from the court. Banabhatta's narration about the villagers. Banabhatta described that the kings would need the furniture, pots, pans, vegetable, golden food stalls, even the musicians too, while they were travelling. The poor villagers used to do their best to welcome the armies of the king by providing them food and fodder for their animals. But the elephant and horses often destroyed the crop fields and the houses. When the army disappeared from the village, the entire village was covered with dust. Faction's depiction about the untouchables of the society. Faction depicted that during Gupta period, the people from lower castes could not enter the marketplace with other citizens. They had a wooden stick by which they used to hit the ground. Thus, other people were aware and went further from him so that the people could avoid touching him. The curse of untouchable was so acute at that time. Summary. Let us summarize what we have learned in this module. Around 1700 years ago, Samudragupta tried to unify the India under his reign. In conquering other states, Samudragupta took various strategies and techniques. Harshavardhana expanded his empire in northern India. The neighboring two empires, Pallava and Chalukya, were engaged in conflicts with each other over centuries. The administration of medieval age was classified into different stages, and there were hierarchies under the king till the bottom level. Many military leaders used to give the soldiers to the king when the kings needed for war. The local assemblies used to look after several local issues at their end and tried to resolve them. The ordinary people used to speak in Prakrit and Pali, while the Brahmins and the kings spoke in Sanskrit.